I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty hungry, but pretty good. I'm gonna make some chicken, so I'm excited.
Hey, chicken's always good.
Yeah, I'm gonna make chicken and rice. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be good stuff.
Chicken and rice? Oh, fancy,
Yeah,
fancy.
I'm gonna steam that rice, white rice, and then I'm gonna make the chicken. I'm gonna pan fry my chicken. I'm gonna put soy sauce and spicy spice, like spicy chili paste on it. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good time.
Dude, I didn't know you were a chef too.
Yeah, dude. I am a culinary master. Have you ever seen what I make? Like, okay, now that you brought that up, let's talk about this for 2 seconds. Let me show you something that I make, and you can tell me if you think this looks good. I'll put it on stream really fast. People, for some reason, say that it doesn't, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? It's on my stream right now. The little bits here, I think this is what grosses people out. It's cabbage, guys. Okay,
Mm.
it's cabbage. It's cabbage mixed with Korean rice cake noodles mixed with steak. Holy fuck! And those are chopsticks, not green vegetables. Those are big green beans. This shit is good.
I will say,
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
cooking with cabbage puts you in like a whole another level.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a bit of a crunch to it. I don't really cook it for that. Like, cabbage is the thing I cook the least in this whole dish, but I cook it for probably like 3 minutes. I mix it in at the end. I chop it up. I have a big knife that I cook with, and I cut meat with, and I cut vegetables with. It's great. I have a chopping board. I'm not.
Dude, this is like Test Kitchen America right here.
Yeah,
You can I don't know why you don't stream your cooking too.
I have before, and people said it was prison food. And I was like, all right, fuck you guys. You don't deserve me.
All haters, man. They're all haters. Cause they fucking eat ramen, dude. That's why. And not the good ramen,
Yeah,
just the
no,
one you
yeah,
pour hot water in.
yeah. Yeah, like cup of noodle.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah. Well, how's StarCraft going for you? Since we last talked.
Yeah, it's okay. To be honest, it's the same, the
Yeah.
same problems. So I've just tried to just double down on the basics. The thing that I've tried to work on the most actually is just figuring out balance between my resources and my production. So making sure that I'm scaling, my gateways and stuff at the same rate that my uh, income is going up, and it helps because before I wasn't making units fast enough,
Mhm.
and then I would run out of units because I made a bunch of gateways, and then I couldn't remax because. So it's definitely helping, and the matches that I've played where I've actually done what I want to do end up going fine.
Mhm.
But I lose this for the same reasons that I have been losing before, which is the macro gets away from me or I make stupid mistakes. So that's frustrating, but
Okay.
you
Okay.
know,
Sure. So I believe, if you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe you're the one who uses like the phone and like the laptop to set up the Discord. And last time we tried to do a Discord screen share, it was like super laggy. Is that right?
yeah, it didn't work at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we do you have any replays you want to go over today? Is that what you want to do? Or do you want?
I thought we could do. I thought we could do the live thing is good. I actually think it's good because I do. It's like higher pressure,
Sure.
and I don't have that same pressure when I'm just playing by myself.
Okay.
And so, when you have the audience and you're looking at me, it does make it more difficult,
Yeah.
which I think is a good thing.
Okay.
And this is really the only opportunity I have to do that. So I was
Yeah. Sure.
hoping we could
Yeah, we could do that.
do the same.
So you're plat. What is it? Plat, right? Or
Yeah, Plat 3.
Okay. So, do you want any race specific? You want to do a specific matchup today, or are you just all free balling it with anything?
Let's free ball.
If okay, okay, dude. Uh, if there's anyone that's listening to the stream right now that is wanting to join in on this, if you're in the lower plat range, I would say low to medium plat, like plat 3, plat 2, would be a good opponent here. Just if you want to play, log in and let me know you're logging in, so I actually know you're gonna do it. And it doesn't matter what race you are, and we'll set it up. But for you, Hindu, yeah, no, it really, I'll definitely bust your balls here with things like like really making sure your macro isn't fucking sucking, and like making sure your build order even looks appropriate, making sure nothing's being diluted, essentially. And
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if there's any questions you have again at any point in time, we can definitely talk about it. I'll go over it for you. But yeah, hopefully someone logs in just a second here. We get this going. No waste any time here.
I had a thought that
Sure.
is a little bit crazy, and so maybe you think it's stupid, but I thought I'd run it by you. So I was thinking while I was playing, I could just kind of say what I was thinking or say what I was doing, just so you can have an idea as to how I'm prioritizing things. And then afterwards, we can talk about it.
Okay, so you want me to just let you kind of speak your mind, and then I'll just listen to the things you're saying, and then we'll come to. I'll make notes of it, and then we'll come back to it later when the game's over and talk about the replay.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think when you give me direction, it definitely helps me play better.
Sure.
But
Okay.
I think I might learn better, or I think you might be able to direct me better if you know what I'm thinking when I'm making mistakes.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine. It's gonna be. I will definitely say. I'll try to give you a little bit. Like, it's hard for me to do this because if your build is gonna be bad, in general, like, hear me out. If your build is gonna suffer, it's gonna make it hard anyways. But the point or the reason why I think your build might suffer is because talking and playing at the same time, even if you're talking about what you're doing, is difficult. Because you're gonna sometimes you're gonna be like, fuck, I'm trying to explain what I just did, and I'm doing something else, and I'm falling behind in one thing or the other. It's not like on the same track anymore, and they're kind of deviating from each other. So then it's gonna, just do your best. I guess it's totally fine. This method is fine.
D.
Just do your best, and I'll try to, and I'll definitely see what's going on with you, and help you out.
Okay, I anticipate this falling apart very quickly, but I figured we'd just give it a shot.
Sure, sounds good. All right. I think Gaston Deller said he's Plat 2, so he's a Zerg player. Gaston Deller, are you online right now? Just join channel Vibu. Like, you can see it in my chat right here. Watch this. Join space Vibu. Like that right there. Join that channel right there. / join Vibu the way I have it typed right over there. Join that channel if you're not in my group chat, and I can just straight up invite you. Like, Brown Ranger's already in here.
Ranger.
Brown.
You guys had an epic. You guys had an epic session the other day.
Yeah, man.
It was fun to watch.
That was good. There was a nice comeback in his latter game.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Are you take it easy, Gaston? Is that you? Yeah. Okay. All right. Or no, is that, I don't know. He said hey. I don't know if that's him. This is a diamond player. Gaston, what's your name on StarCraft? That's you? All right, confirm it with me really fast if that's you. I'm Gaston. Okay, so that is him. All right, so he says he's a Plat 2 Zerg. And yeah, Gaston, I would prefer you to play not diamond level here. Yeah, that's a bit high. Okay, perfect. All right, is there anything you want to say? Sorry, Hindu.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, I'm gonna fucking start this game. I'm gonna stop talking as well. I'll mute my mic so that you can, like, I'll answer you if you literally ask me a question. I'll answer you, but otherwise, I'll let you do your thing, and then I'll make notes of your game while we do it, and then we'll come back and talk about it when it's over.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Good luck, man.
All right. Thank you.
Also, Gaston, thanks for helping, man. Okay. Alright, guys, I have muted myself in Discord. I'm gonna open up a notepad really fast here, and I'm gonna be like the courthouse person that's just fucking typing the words out. Let's go. What are they called? A telegrapher or some shit? I'm not actually gonna do that. I'm just joking. A stenographer. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm not actually gonna do that. I'm just gonna listen to him as he like makes concepts. Vibe, much love, yo. Thanks, dude. Thanks, man. All right. Yeah, you better put that shit down there. Don't put it too close. If he puts it like right here, this is gonna be a bit fucked up.
This is my wall. Go scout.
It's connected to the pylons, I think. I think that's connected, so that's a little bit rough.
Chrono.
Needs to spread out a little more. Okay.
Probes look okay. Rally to natural.
Hey,
Okay, I see the expansion. Okay, see the spawning pool. One gas looks standard.
no gas.
I'm gonna make my
He said one gas. There's no gas! It's okay.
make my cyber.
I'm not gonna really harp on him about that. It's not really that big of a deal. Because this is
Make
still
my
a
second
defensive point.
gas. Then I'll make my next pylon.
His build looks fine. I'm gonna say one more thing. Stop pulling probes off mineral line. Use gas probes. That's important.
Make my
He keeps ripping off the mineral line to build buildings.
Tucker. Chrono it. Grab this guy, send him here.
It's fine. What he's doing there is fine. His wall's medium. It's okay. Could be a little bit more organized, but yeah. The pylon's so exposed now when he builds it so close like that. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it.
Make my robo.
Nice overlord kill.
And my second gateway when I have
Right
enough
there. He better
minerals.
make the gateway there. Do not make it in the main. Good, he's doing it. Good. Good shit. Good shit. So far it's fine. For what's going on, for what we see, his chrono boost is good. Good shit. Don't need to make a note of that because it's not a negative. It's pronounced stenographer. Is it? It's stenographer. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. Immortal first, right now. Immortal.
My next natural.
Immortal. Okay, I'm writing that down. You're getting written up for that. You're getting fucking written up. Immortal. And asterisk next to it. He really needs to make that shit faster.
Okay, stalkers 2.
He also needs to scout faster. Scout faster with Haluk Phoenix. Third base timing is good.
Gases.
His probing is decent, not bad. Why Immortal first instead of Observer? Because it's mild scouting, and what if he gets all in? He's not scouting with the depths. It's B to GM. It increases your odds of not dying. Observer second always. You know, because you know what your Observer does anyways? Your Observer is defensive. You don't even actually need an Observer against Zerg super fast. But I tell people to make one second anyways because of the potential of like Banshees or fucking DTs, which don't exist in this matchup. Lurkers cannot come as fast as those units. Lurkers take a lot longer.
Send out a scout.
Yeah, that scout needs to be way faster. Immortals again. Okay. Robo usage is complete dog shit. He's gonna listen to the bottom and be like, fuck you, vibe.
Okay, expanding a lot, so see roaches, so
he needs to expand, get ready to expand again soon.
start The tech.
You better get your expansion ready. Expand before tech. Actually, it doesn't matter. I don't care about that.
My next
That's actually.
expansion.
There we go. Fuck yeah. I'm not writing him up for that. He's got it, but the 6-minute rule. He's got 2 fucking probes going down here, though. I got my fucking pin ready to write that down. Robo usage is bad again. Yeah. He doesn't.
Start making zealots.
Good. That's correct. He doesn't. Okay. His money's being spent relatively well, though. As long as he's spending his money, it's still decent. And he's not like queuing out the fucking robo.
Make some gateways.
Not enough minerals.
Okay.
Make sure,
And
like
my
what? Make
Twilight.
that immortal right now. Make that immortal. Stop building buildings. If like right here, this is an example. He's got enough money for it. Make that fucking immortal.
Not enough minerals.
Make that immortal. Okay.
I forgot to build that gateway wall over there.
Wasn't that bad. And he's not wrong either. That is actually something I should write down. Gateway, wall, 3rd, plus 4th base. There should not be gateways in his main.
And I need to make a forge.
He needs to scout more too. Scout more. With your century.
Make a little wall here. I don't really know how to do this. Okay,
I'll show him.
done with probes. Make some more pylons.
Not enough minerals. Minerals now.
Probe count
I need
is
to expand.
88. He needs to stop. He is. And he's expanding by 8 minutes. His expansion timings are good, honestly. He needs to fucking explode gateways right now. He needs gates. Like a lot. He needs to make more than 3. He needs to make like another fucking 6 right now. Seriously.
Unacceptable warfare.
Because now he's done making...
Gateways.
Once he makes the pylon in the next tier, he's done making pylons. There we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Not
Okay,
enough
good shit.
minerals.
Now start making archons.
Minerals
Second
now.
robo, third robo. Okay, that's a little early for that. But make archons. If he makes zealots right now, it's wrong. Make fucking archons. Make archons! Stop making fucking zealots! Okay, I'm writing him down for that. You get written up for that. I'm over here just yelling at nobody. Production wise, he's got 8 gate, 1 robo turning into 14 gate, 3 robo. That's still not enough. He needs like another 5 gates.
Okay, send out a scout. I'm getting close to maxing.
Chrono boost is up. He needs this also immediately when he's done probing. Chrono boost these. Okay, I didn't tell about chrono again. Chrono. Robo plus forge when probes are done. I don't think he's chrono boosted this upgrade one time.
Okay, so I see an expansion over here. I think that one's an easy one, so let's go get that one. Okay, we gotta make some more gateways.
I mean, no.
Okay, here comes his move out. I want to see if he groups his army up first or if he just A moves.
Gateways.
Unacceptable
I think he's just A
warfare.
moving. Oh no, he grouped it up. Okay, I'll give it to him. He grouped it up. Good job. He grouped it up. The zealots didn't just go in and go in. They stopped. He grouped it up. That's correct.
This one.
That's okay. That's wrong though. Let your army fully group before sending it into attack. He sent in all of his zealots and stalker in before the immortals were still like single file walking there.
Get it.
Upgrade complete.
Also, I want to take a look at his army positioning when he's playing defensive. And at this point, is he actually using his buildings very much? He has.
Pull back a little
He
bit
actually has
here.
too many buildings now, but
Well, I
I would rather
can.
him have too many than too little. He also okay. He did this last time I think too. Make sure you make archons from Templar. They are on top of the command card. I'll explain that later.
Check my bases. Okay. Over.
Chronomus
Send them
that fucking
here.
forge! Stop Chronomus your gates! Chronomus the
Okay,
forge!
expand.
Fuck! Expand, yeah, he needs to expand again for sure.
Okay,
He's
let's
actually
keep
late on
building.
this one.
Okay, we're maxed. Let's go
This
down here. Let's hit this side this time.
this expansion he's going for is a minute late.
Okay, let's build some cannons.
Okay. He's grouping up his army on the right
Terrible
side.
placement.
Look how
That's
spread
what
out
it
it
is.
is. If he attacks early, it's fucked. This is what he did last time.
Okay, we're here.
He's attacking now. It's fucked. You don't want to do that.
Shoot. Not everybody's here yet. Three.
Okay, good. He backed up. This is better. He needs to wait for his fucking
Go
power
back
to
home.
arrive.
Okay, attack this.
This time it was okay. I'll give it that. That time was good.
Keep going.
What does probes look like? Not too bad. Fix that
To
shit.
here. So these to here.
He's not producing again though right now. He's not producing like during the fight. Yeah, 0 production has happened during the fight. Okay, 3 mortals just started. Not a single gateway unit was made this entire fight so far. Or did he? Did he make Templar during the fight? Like this is fucked. He's doing it again. There's something happening here with these repeatedly.
Okay, just group up real quick here. We'll hit this base.
Okay, he's doing. I'm gonna talk about his attack cycles.
Check my bases. It's okay. Over.
I don't like how he's attacking. He keeps making a round and then sends it. Makes a round and sends it. Like watch, he's gonna probably send these right when they're done. With the Selectal Army move or some shit. And I don't like this. Because he's sending his army in small bits rather than grouping up a concave like a max ball.
Okay.
Okay, his army died though, so maybe he won't.
Come on.
He needs to make Archons faster though. I think these were previously commanded to go attack. Yeah, they were. Because his rally point is not in the base. He has no rally point at all. Or this one has one there. Yeah, these are a selected army. Okay. It's a big problem that he needs to stop doing. That was a good weapon. He needs to expand again. What's his probe count now? 83? Not
Check my
bad.
bases.
He needs to
Okay.
expand again, dude.
Okay. Over here.
Do it.
Here. It's okay.
Also, he's still working on upgrades. This is like 8 minutes of upgrades. It's a long time to be
Well, max
upgrading.
again.
With
Let's
the fact that you can chronoverse it. He's
try to
not
take this
chronoversing at
base
all.
one more time. Let's make some more gateways.
Unacceptable warp location. Mineral field depleted.
Let's do. Okay, this is excessive.
Hit this base.
Stop making production at 24. Use it faster. Way too many fucking gates. I would allow like 26,
Making
like a
units.
tiny bit over, but this is now like 32 production buildings or some shit. This is way too much. This is 33 production buildings. This is way too many fucking production buildings. You'll never actually use it all if you actually macro properly, is why it's too much. Like, watch the gateways. We'll just watch the gateways. Look at how much of the gateways don't get used each cycle, right? Like, they're maxed. See how he's maxed? More gateways aren't going to do anything. Still not going to be using them all. It's going to keep happening that way. Alright, I'm going to unmute my mic. Alright. Let's talk about that. Nice win, by the way. Good shit.
Thanks.
Now, I got some notes for you. And
Okay.
basically, I'll read off really quickly. I'll just like bounce point to point to point to point what I think I noticed in this game that I want to talk about. But
Okay.
basically, the points that and then we'll break it down for like going forward. But the points that I wanted to talk about were your initial gateway wall with your pylon. It needs to be a little altered. You keep pulling probes off the middle line when you should pull them off the gas for your initial buildings. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Your robo production was very off, I would say. Like it's too much idle time for periods of time. Your scouting was very, very lacking with your sentry early on in the game. But like you were getting up to like 160 energy before you scouted, which is it takes 75.
Okay.
Your gateway, like you even said it in the game, your gateway walls at your 3rd and your 4th base definitely need to be at your 3rd and your 4th, so you're not so fucking exposed. And I'll show you how to do it properly. It's really easy, but I'll show you how to do it. Once you like, it'll make it easier for you. You need to make archons as well. You need to balance your resources better because you were actually starving at one point with like almost 2,000 gas, and you had like 300 minerals, and you're trying to explode your gateway count a bit more while just making fucking zealots. So if you were making archons there instead, which you totally could have been, it would be easier to also add in the other costs of your gates, which you should have been making the gates when you did, which was correct. It's just balance your economy better, like actually use your gas and minimize your mineral usage when you can. You need to also be chrono boosting your forge. I don't think you're chrono boosting your forge like at all this game. Chrono boosting your robo as well is important when the probes are done. Then lastly, you need to make sure you let your army fully group up before you attack your opponent. You did it once correctly in bottom right, but you did it wrong in middle left. You actually went in before all your mortals were there, and then you just went in and lost all your zealots and shit, and then you got kind of fucked in that fight. And then lastly, the biggest one you're doing as well, that I fucking don't like, that I noticed that you're doing, and you need to stop doing this, is you need to attack in waves, not in... Like, when I say waves, I mean waves of, like, max army, not waves of, like, okay, I just made a group of units, go attack. I made a group of units, go attack. Reinforce, reinforce. Because I watched you make, like, 2 immortals, 3 immortals. I watched you make, like, 8 Templars. And then you're, like, selecting an army in the middle of a fight and telling your army to go attack and go attack and go attack a different base. And, like, you just warped in something else. And then you're telling it as it warped in to go attack as well. And... you're spending too much time doing that shit. It's what it's showing me. Like, you shouldn't even be ever issuing an attack command on the guy's base once it started the first time. And then once it started the first time, you're already maxed. So all your new units shouldn't even respond to this because they're not even being told to attack something. And then once your main army starts to die, you're replacing it like as soon as shit dies. And then your next wave is ready to go as soon as your first wave's dead, essentially. And it's a full wave. It's not like 8 zealots and then 10 seconds later 3 archons and then 8 seconds later 3 immortals. And your waves are so broken up repeatedly because you're like sending out reinforcements as like your main army goes with a maxed out army, but you're grabbing little bits here and there. Like let me show you. I'm gonna show you my screen really fast on Discord, and I'll show you 2 times when you did it in the middle of the game, just that I can remember right off the top of my head that kind of fucks you over.
Okay. I can see it on on Twitch.
Yeah, just watch my stream honestly, because there's delay on Twitch. Yeah. There's no delay with Discord.
Okay.
That way you can actually follow along without being behind. Because I can't get rid of delay on Twitch. It's like built into it. So this is your first attack, right? And then you do it again, like right here. You did it this time. I did not like this. This is you reissuing like you're microing and you're reissuing an attack command. So let me explain. Your army groups up, right? It groups up here. I'm glad that you told it to group up here. That's fucking great. But I don't like that you told it to then attack early before these guys all arrived. So all of your power was super fucking late, and it's all fodder that just goes in and attacks. Also, you need to have some archons mixed in your army. Archons and immortals are actually your priority. Zealots are not your priority. They're your filler unit. They're what you make when you can't make an archon. That's what zealots should be. So like you should be making immortals, and you should be making archons as much as possible, and then when you can't make them anymore, make zealots. But you're like prioritizing zealots in this scenario here, so because you have no archons at all with this first push, and then when you go, You lose a bunch of fucking zealots here because you attack early before your mortals arrive. They're still like trying to walk around the corner and shit, and your zealots are all dying as the fight starts. Now you warp in a bunch of Templar during the fight. Right here. And now I can tell you're microing, and you shouldn't be, because you tell them to attack. You don't ever want to do this. These should be defensive until your next wave is, your next max wave is ready to go. Because you compromise your units a lot like this throughout the game. When you keep going, no guys, go, because what you're doing right now is you're going, no, you guys go attack. And you're telling them to go attack into a fight that you've already kind of fucking got shit on in, essentially, because you lost all of your fodder. Like a big chunk of your army just died. And the Zerg is remaxing faster than you are. And he also has defender's advantage. So his army that remaxes is going to be here a lot faster than your army will be there. And you're going to run units into death because they're going to get there late. So like you don't want to be doing that at all. And you wouldn't need to be you wouldn't need to be microing your army either, realistically, if you didn't set it up poorly. And the setup poorly was you came in, there's two things about it that I could say. Number one, you came in from one angle only. That's not that big of a deal though. That's like the minor, that's like 10% of the problem here. It's like very little. You could have actually went, okay, green box, like all my units go there. Select the army, go there. Green box, half of you go there. Half of you are still here. A move this base, and then shift A move this base and like this base or some shit like that. That'd be fine. And then your army would come in from this angle, and that'd be fine. And then you would never micro it again. You don't have to do that though. That's okay if you don't do it. If you just group it all up here, and it actually is grouped up, and then you say, okay, a move here, then a move here, then a move here, just like go along the left side of the map, that's also totally fine. Your whole power would be there, and you'd have a good chance to take a good fight. But like I said before, you pull your army back right here. This is when you fuck it up right now. You pulled your army back, and this is pulling your Templars forward and your Immortals forward over here. Because you're selecting all army, and you're saying, back up, you're trying to micro right now. And this is bad because you just lost all of your protection for your power, and now you're fighting with only power under max supply. And I don't care if this power dies. I care if this power dies, because this is your remax. And this is okay to keep going because you could have just killed this base. So even if this dies, it's already at the base. So it's going to kill this base before it dies, and it gives you an advantage. But if this power dies, it's like the Zerg just canceling all of his eggs, essentially, because all of his reinforcements are also going to die. That's not what you want to have happen. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this was brutal for you. Like.
Okay. I guess my thought process here was, so I saw them attack, and then I saw that the numbers were getting low, and so I wanted to regroup everybody before attacking again. Is that wrong?
You should definitely. Okay, so if you wanna, if you're like, you know what, I don't want to take this fight anymore. I wanna regroup. Instead of telling new reinforcements to go across the map to the Zerg, pull existing units back towards your main army again. Like go backwards, go back to your base, and then regroup, and then go. Because regrouping at his base does this. So you're fighting, and you're like, all right, time to regroup right here. Or just kidding, you regrouped a second ago before that. You regroup right here. So you pull back, you regroup right now, you're regrouping right now, and now what's happening is the Zerg regroups faster than you do, because you're regrouping. Like, you have to understand the point of defender's advantage. Like, if it's like a geometry problem, like he has to go 1/8 the distance you do to get in the fight again. His units spawn, they're in the fight. Your units spawn, like from robos, and they gotta go all the way across the fucking world, go through a little doorway, come out, go down, around, down, over across the world here, and then they're here. Like, his units will be in the fight within about 5 seconds. Your units will be in the fight within about 35 seconds. So this is brutal for you because, as you see, you say regroup with your units, but you're also re-engaging before your reinforcements are arriving as well. This is not good. Again, I don't want you to be blowing your reinforcements like this. This is fucking brutal for you. Because then these guys walk forward, and then they just die. And now finally, your other guys arrived, and you're like, oh, okay, let's run away. And they're all Templar. If this guy actually microed, he could run out all your Templar and kill them all. Like, this is, you don't ever want to, like, that's another thing too, is you got to make sure, whenever you select all army in the game, it will select. I'm just gonna select like or we'll let you make some more units, and I'll explain this when you have more shit. Okay, here we go. So when you select an army like this, it's gonna basically always have a command card that looks like this. It'll have like multiple pages, stuff like that. Just know you need it whenever you select an army. You need to look at this area. Hold on one second. You need to just sorry, I got distracted. You need to look at the bottom middle of the screen here, and like there's a unit there's something you understand is called unit priority, and what that means is when you select an army, it will put the units that have the most abilities at the top of the list, and the units with lesser and lesser and the lowest amount of abilities at the bottom of the list. So units that legit A move are always going to be behind units that have spells. And all you got to do when you select an army is look at the bottom middle here and go, oh wow, those are Templar. And then hold fucking Archon button. Because if you have Templar in your army, that is fucking wrong. And I don't think you look at this enough. Because you let Templar sit out for so long, so many times. And this is a scary thing for you. Because if you do this often, and you have a Zerg player that decides to pull the trigger early and attack you early, and you're suddenly like, oh fuck, there's Zerg right here and he's attacking me, make Archons now. He's gonna like kill half your Archons as they're trying to morph into Archons, and you're gonna lose so much fucking potential power in that fight. You know what I mean? Like, you need to make Archons faster. Like, you need to pay attention to the fact that you're not having them, and then make them. You also need to think to yourself, whenever you decide to make Archons, you need to think to yourself, okay, I need to make, or whenever you make High Templar, you need to think, okay, well, I need to make those into Archons like within about 3 seconds. Because if I don't, that's really scary. You don't make Templar into Archon enough at all. That's like, there's like 3 times this game when you run them across the map as Templars. And that is fucking scary. There we go. You made Archons. Okay. So far, how you feel about what we talked about? About these points in here with your army?
Good. Yeah, I'm very, very, very bad at managing the army, for sure.
Sure. Okay. Another thing I would say is try to centralize your army a bit more than you do. Like, you have the units over here, you have units over here, you have units over here. I don't mind initially for defensive purposes. Also, you're going to be really careful about... I don't know if we talked about this before or if it was someone else, but be very careful about like being so lazy with your gates and you wall yourself out of areas. Like, you've literally walled yourself out with Archons here. Archons have to go around like this.
I know, I did that last time too.
Because, yeah, stop doing that as much as possible. Like, be willing to maybe put a pylon behind the mineral line and put gateways back there or something, instead of walling, because this is fucked for you. This is not good.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bit more appropriate, but even then, this is a problem, which we'll talk about when we talk about how to properly wall your 3rd and 4th base. Again, it's super easy. It's just, I'll explain it when we get there. And then, yeah, you can always put more in your main base too. If you like run out of places, like if you're like done with your 3rd and 4th, like to be fair, let me say this. Your 3rd and 4th should never have more gateways than your gateway walls. You should not be putting mass gateways at your 3rd and 4th. You should be putting gateways like somewhere else with other pylons, because the worst thing you want as well, even if, let's say, these 2 gateways didn't exist, okay? Let's just pretend these 2 didn't exist and this was not a wall where your Archons could still fit now. This is still shitty for you because these gateways are protruding so hard here, which you don't want to have happen, because if the Zerg shows up here and attacks you where your Archons and Immortal are on the left side, he gets a good concave versus you having a shitty concave on the right side. And concave is huge about if you're going to win or lose fights, especially when you're A moving. So you're actually fucking your concave placement up pretty hard too by making gateways protrude out so far like this. And you do the same thing, not so much there. This one, again, this one's not nearly as bad, but your pylons though, fuck you. This pylons are, like, the gateways here are mediocre, but your pylons are awful. If the Zerg shows up here, you have a fucked up concave again right there. Defensively. You cannot defend that in that area. You're, like, taking away a lot of your own surface area to put a random building there. So that's not what you want. You got to be a little bit more organized with your outer expansions. Your inner bases like this, be as crazy as you want. Just try not to wall off. and like block your units in your base. But this needs to be a bit more organized because again, you gotta really respect the fact that if you get attacked, you need to have some type of area you can use to defend yourself.
Okay. I literally put no thought into where I'm putting pylons and stuff in general.
Sure.
So
Your context.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. No, it makes sense. Like, you just gotta respect the fact that if you get attacked, you have to be able to somehow have a defense there.
Okay.
And that'll definitely help you. And again, I will legit give you an example about how to wall your third and fourth here in a couple minutes. And then like right here, for instance, this is another one where you almost fucked it up. Like you're grouping up in bottom right? And you're starting to move in. And if you did it again, let's just pretend all the Hydras and Roaches were right here right now. All that would happen would be all your Zealots would die, but like before a lot of your Archons and Immortals arrived. And you're like totally missing the fucking punch of your, like the power of your punch here. But you end up backing up, which I was like, thank God he backed up. He didn't commit fully. Thank God for that, because if he did, that would have been really bad. And then this one, still pulling the trigger a little early, but not that bad. Not that bad because they're close. But even then, if there were units here where like half your Zealots are going to die before these guys even start to shoot their attacks off, that's bad. You want your Zealots, the concept of this army is your Zealots are dying to buy your Archons and Immortals time to do more attacks, which does more damage. So you're going to, in theory, trade army for army where you're losing Zealots and he's losing whatever he makes because your Archons and Immortals are being allowed to have as many auto attacks as possible before they start taking damage themselves because they're in the back. But you're taking your entire melee line and engaging before your entire range line is with you, which is only weakening. Like these Zealots are not actually your damage of your army. It's your Archons and your Immortals. These are literally like your meat shields. They do very little damage compared to what Archons and Immortals do. And then like right here again, this is another one where you did it again. Where this moment, at this point in this game, you're attacking, right? You're attacking and you're making reinforcements as you attack. Up here. This is good. I'm glad that you're making reinforcements. You're not making anything out of the Robos though, unfortunately, which is bad. You have a lot of chrono energy that you could be using as well. There's triple chrono boost your 3 Robos. But you're making nothing right now. I think you're over microing these fights repeatedly. You're actually spending way too much time looking at the fight or something like that because you basically like I said before, you reinitiate attack commands too many times throughout a fight. Once and done. Like set it up and then fucking let it be. Just let it go ham. And then make a new army that's going to do the next set it up, let it go ham. You're bleeding into multiple attack cycles into each other repeatedly. So like it's supposed to be like attack cycle 1 is done. Attack cycle 2 is done. Attack cycle 3 is done. But instead of having that, you have like attack cycle 1 and then attack cycle 2 that starts to develop. It just like bleeds over and washes into attack cycle 1 again. And you don't want that because it's gonna make attack cycle 2 not exist. And if you're losing the fight already like you are, if you send in more units, the chance of you losing another fight again is going to be higher because you're taking fights that are like, okay, I have a fight here right now where we're going to take a fight, but then all my new reinforcements are going to run in from across the map. They're going to run in, like they're going to run across the map and then they're going to run in the fight. And if I've already lost the fight, they're going to run in and suicide essentially. The only time you ever, and this is what we're not doing in Platinum League, the only time you ever really want to warp in and progress the fight is if you're going to do one of two things. Play conservative with these units and micro them, which I don't want you doing because micro is not what you want to be doing right now. You want to be macroing. Or if you're going to have like a warp prism in the army, like directly here, and you're going to be warping in the fight. Like initially right there, you're warping in where your units have to walk half a second and they're fighting Hydras or whatever. But we're not doing that either, right? So you warping in units across the map and then walking them into the fight repeatedly sucks for you because by the time they get there, a lot of the fight could already be over, and you might lose the fight because of that. And then you do it again with Templar. You're doing it another time again right here, where you just pull these guys forward now. And this is again not what you want to be doing. And you do it again. You're never giving yourself attack cycles. if you're already winning the game, you'll win anyways. So the point this is the point I really want to make sure you understand. You don't even need to do this, and you can still win the game if you're already winning your initial fight. But if you're losing your initial fight, doing this is just going to make you bleed off units in little bits and pieces. Like, these guys are going to engage and die. And then these guys are going to engage and die. And then these guys are going to engage and die. And they're not going to ever be grouped up. It's the exact same thing I talked about here when your units went in early and your other units were out of range. It's the exact same thing here I talked about when your units went in early. Thank God there was no units there to defend it, though, at that point in time. And your other units were out of range. Like, you want to make sure you're using your army with, like, full power cycles, because what you're doing is, imagine you could, like, punch somebody once every 10 seconds, and it takes 10 seconds to get full power punches. You're hitting them the first time with, like, a 8-second power up, and then you're hitting them with, like, 3 seconds every time after that, and it's, like, little powered hits, and it doesn't do nearly as much fucking damage as what it could do, because, again, you're doing this with isolated groups of units. You're not actually grouping up Archons and Immortals for these follow-up waves. It's like a wave of Templar or a wave of Zealot, and this is fucking atrociously bad for the Templar, and the Zealot is not actually your power unit. It's not bad by itself, but at the same time, like, if you're losing the fight, these are just going to walk in and die. They're not going to actually kill anything. So you're throwing games when you play like that a lot, I guarantee it. You got to give yourself power fucking, like, waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Like, max out, then go. So, like, if your first fight here, like, for instance, again, the best way to do this would be if you grouped up here, your whole army. You just go, okay, it's all grouped up. Select our army, and on the mini-map, go attack, 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 attack. Let it be. Warp in your next army wherever the fuck you want it to be. Warp it in right here, warp it in right here. I don't care. Warp it in right there. Does not matter. Warp in your next army. If your first army wins the game, it wins the game. Great, wonderful. If it doesn't win the game, by the time... The next time you should initiate an attack would be if you're like, well, I have a lot of money in the bank. Things aren't dying fast enough. And all my gateway, like, I have gateways that are ready to be warping in units, but they can't. And right now I have like 8 Archons, 6 Immortals, and like 24 Zealots, and I just can't make any more. I've been sitting on 200 supply for the last like 8 seconds. And I'm trying to make shit, but I just can't. Nothing's really dying. You could then go, okay, you know what? Select all army. A move on the mini-map, right there. A move, A move, A move. And I don't give a fuck if it disrupts the pathing. Like, let's say your first army is right there, and it's being told now to go there. Like, so it's going to go up, and then back down, and down. It doesn't matter, because you're winning the fight anyways at that point, and you're having a second large wave that is actually full power going together to set up a fight. That would be how you would do it if your army just isn't dying when you're killing his base. If your army is so now let's say the final part here. Let's say that we'll go back to the initial part here where your army was there. You group it all up. You go A move, A move, A move, A move with a shift command. Let it be. Let's say you start warping in units here while it starts dying, and you're currently warping in new units. You're chrono boosting your robos, all that shit. And you're up to like now 6 Immortals with 3 more in production, and you're up to like 8 Archons, and you can make a couple more, but you're at 180 supply out of 200, and you're like, all right, my army's all dead now. Instead of just going from your base and going A move, A move, A move, A move, you could go, all right, select all army, A move right there, let it go there, and group up. Because it doesn't matter if the grouping up doesn't matter as much if you have units in his base still and you're not dying, which means he has nothing to kill you. But if your units are gone off the fucking face of the world, you need to fucking group up your army with power, and because units have different move speeds, you're basically sending like a golf cart with a Ferrari to the same location, right? And the Ferrari's gonna get there like within 10 seconds, and the golf cart's gonna get there in 30 seconds. It's gonna be like, wait guys, I'm on my way. So you gotta give it time for like your slow units to catch up to your speed units. And when they do, if you grouped up like there, then you could go A move, A move, A move, A move, and that'd be fine. Does that mean like you could always literally alternate it left, right, left, right, left, right, if your opponent's not attacking you ever? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, because you're not doing it at all in this game here, and definitely if you keep doing it the way you were, you're gonna fucking ruin your power cycles over and over and over. It just makes it hard for you to like ever actually establish footing in the game. Now let's go back early on. Let's talk about like some developing things for you can work on. Let's go back really to the very beginning. I don't know why I didn't do that. There we go. Okay. So you make your stuff. You make your pylon wall. Now I don't mind. I do not mind that you put your pylon where you did. What I do not like though is that you build your gateway directly on top of the pylon. I don't like that at all. The reason why I don't like that at all is because you're actually overexposing your pylon when you do that. And you're never going to want to, like, in Platinum League, you're not going to get punished as much for this. But as you grow as a player, you're giving the Zerg the ability to have, like, Ravagers or Roaches just walk to the front of your wall and kill your pylon and unpower your entire wall. And you don't want that to happen. What you want to do is you want your pylon, ideally, to be building buildings at max fucking range. Like, you want to put a gateway, like, right there. Literally, like, right there. And then put another building, like, right there. And then you can put your last building, like, right there. That's fine. If you put your pylon a little bit further out like this, you can put a gateway like there, another gateway like right there, and a core like right there. You want your wall and your pylon to be having some distance between the two of them. If it's like literally no distance at all and they're touching each other, which is what happens here. They're touching each other essentially. This is not great for you because it's such a short amount of range where you can get shot over the wall and lose your pylon. That's fucking scary. Now, the way you built the wall otherwise was fine. You actually did a proper doorway, which we talked about last time. Much better that time, okay? So your doorway, way better. And the way you connected wall to wall, way better. Just give yourself some room between your pylon and your buildings, though, from now on, if you can. It's really important. It also allows you to have more of a... And another thing it does for you is it allows you to have a better level of surface area. If you get all-in or attacked, you can have more units in the area where they need to be. And not having to walk around pylons and annoying shit like that, because it's like taking away, again, some of the surface area for defensive purposes. Your scout was fine. I will say this. I remember you said that there was one gas. I think you said there was one gas in the Zerg here. Who gives... I shouldn't even have brought it up. It's not a big deal. Just be aware of that, though. Because if the Zerg doesn't actually take a gas, this could be beat a GM, or this could be a Zerg who's just going to straight up go gasless and take a fast third base. So... I would say you don't necessarily have to scout with your probe and be like, where's your third at, dude? But just make sure when you scout with your sentry, if this guy does not have a layer by the time you scout with your sentry, fucking find that third base because he's got a third base. Because if he doesn't take a gas, and then he also, like when he eventually does take a gas, if he doesn't take tech, like the only thing you should be worried about at that point then would be if he's got extra larva that's like fast. And you don't even need to attack it or anything. So even if you don't even scout this at all, it's not a big deal. I'm only telling you this because I want you to start thinking about shit. You don't need to actually do anything about it. I just want you to think about it. I want you to actually like realistically understand that this could mean things in the game and be like, I actually think I know what you might be doing here. But yeah, you don't have to counter it or some shit like that. I'm not telling you to like micro against it. But your wall is good. You can see, as we talked about before, if you make an intersection across the gateway to the core, it intersects. This is a good wall. For like doorway purposes. Not pylon purposes, but doorway purposes is a good wall. So another thing that's huge too, let's go back and talk about it. Right here, when you're building your buildings, right about now, stop using, don't ever, like once you get these guys on the mineral line, stop touching them. Don't ever touch them again. Every time you want to build a building, use a gas probe or use this probe. Because what I noticed you did a lot was you built buildings off of your mineral line, boys. And I don't want you to do that because it's if the potential of you disrupting your patches is way too extreme and bad, and you can see one of them is already disrupted. You have a patch with 3 and a patch with 1, which is not great. But minerals are what you need right now, not gas. So it's understanding like what your resource priority is. And right now your resource priority is pylons, probes, nexus, expansions fast, not supply blocking, more pylons. Adding in a little bit of stalker, which is still heavy on the minerals. It's still like almost 3 to 1 mineral to gas. And then you're adding in a robo, which again is about 3 to 1 mineral to gas once you start making immortals. Robo is only like a 1.5 to 1, but you get the point. Like it's all of these things you're making, heavy mineral, heavy mineral, heavy mineral. It's tons of mineral priority. It's either only mineral or heavy mineral. So you need to stop disrupting your minerals, and you do it multiple times, where you build buildings with your probes and minerals. So, like for instance, if you want to build a gas, take this probe here and build a fucking gas on your other gas. It's totally fine, and then have them go back to mine the gas. That's totally cool, and then have another probe on the gas, build a pile like right there or something. That's also totally fine. Just try really hard to never touch these guys once they're fully saturated, and then once you start saturating these guys over here, try to also not rip them off the mineral line. Leave them, like let them be, because you need minerals so badly. So you pull off, and then like see what just happened there? You just turned this patch into a 1 patch now instead of a 2 patch. Not ideal, because you disrupted the mining. And now the only way it fixes itself is if you manually fix it, or if the RNG happens to have the probe go like, oh, nope, no, nope, nope, okay, we're back here again, and then it works. But yeah, this is not good for you. Like that actually hurts you to take that gas right there, the way you just did it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
So I take that, I use the probe that I used to make the cyber core.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, I should just use that. Like, it's a bit of a hike, so that's why I used that one. But is that okay to spend the time to walk all the way back and just make the gas that way?
So not every map is the same length of distance, but I would say mostly yes, for the most part. Most maps, yeah, you probably could make that work. Just as long as you're not wasting any time either, right? But if you realize you're like, all right, I'm at like 22 supply right now and my gas is not started, or I'm at like about to be at 22 because my probe is like there in production, like almost done, and I'm at 21 and my probe is like just now starting the core over here because I'm late or whatever the fuck, just take a gas probe and make it. Just don't do it off the mineral line. Yeah. Okay. Taking probes off gas to build a building and then come right back, like building a pylon, building your robo and your gateway, gas probe every time. Do not take a mineral probe. Make the mineral probe 16 and then literally never touch them again. Like put them in a little bubble and let them just mine forever. Like they never ever get disrupted. The only time they should get disrupted is when your opponent does it and not you.
Okay.
And then like now you made a pile in there too, you disrupted it again. This is like, these are things that I just keep adding up to like little mineral deficiency. When you're not disrupting the gas at all, when you could have made a gas. And here's the beautiful thing about making a gas probe, build a building or do something else. It doesn't have a stupidity complex where it's like, nope, can't mine that because something else is touching it right now. Probes that mine gas will mine that fucking gas properly. There's no like properly stacking your gases kind of a thing where it's like 2 per gas or some shit like that. Like if you tell 7 drones or 7 probes to go to this gas, 4 of them are going to sit there while 3 of them mine it. They're just going to fucking sit there. They're not going to bounce around or some shit because it's just how gas is. But minerals though, probes will bounce around the mineral lines and fuck themselves up because they'll be the AI thinks it's trying to be efficient when it actually sometimes makes itself inefficient. And I don't know if you've ever heard me do a mineral breakdown, but I do it in Beta Gym like for every race around I think diamond or like platinum. Okay, and then you chrono boost at your stalker. This was fine. Now let's talk about so one thing again, the two things I'll preface again is I didn't really like your robo usage, and I didn't like your sentry usage. So the sentry was, when you have enough energy, you definitely need to just scout with it, and just, it's a good habit to develop. You really need to, like right now, if you could send a scout out, that's humongous. You want to definitely make sure you're seeing things as they start to happen, not way the fuck after the fact, because you scout like 2 minutes late. So try to definitely keep that in mind. Try to keep in mind of like around 3:30 is like gonna roughly be your first scout, and then about every minute after that is gonna be another scout. So like 4:30, 5:30, you need to be scouting probably around those timers. And then your robo, it's just repeat like so. Your robo should not be your first priority by any means. Okay, your first priority should be your probes and your nexuses and shit like that. But your robo every once in a while will go idle when you have enough money to make an immortal. And it's a little bit brutal. So this one you made an observer. This is correct. You made your gases. You made your third base. This is all good. I will say this though, up until 5 bases, so after you initially start attacking your opponent, your expansion timings are great. Keep doing it. Wonderful. Your developing expansions are great all the way up until 10 minutes. But once you need to start taking your 6th base, you start kind of falling apart. Like your expansions after that kind of just stop happening. So you really, and I think it's because you're literally going too many fucking attack cycles. I think you're getting caught up into how to attack someone in the incorrect way, which is why I talked about that so much in the beginning of this. So that is a big deal. You need to make sure you're doing waves and not bleeding over waves one into another, as we talked about already. That way it'll kind of give you some time to properly macro and not worry about reissuing multiple command waves over and over to attack the same attack repeatedly. Like just realize that, again, this is the last thing I'll say about that. All it takes is one attack command, and once you've initiated that one attack command, literally let it just do its thing. Don't even fucking touch it again. Just let it go. And if you macro the next army up to get ready to do it again, your chances of winning games is going to be extremely high. Now, is it going to be exactly how you should be playing in Diamond? No. You should actually start multitasking micro and macro a little bit in Diamond. But in Platinum, yes, you're going to win a lot of your games playing that way. Because you don't need to actually micro your... Like, if you do it the way I'm saying, it's not going to be a situation where it's like, I need to maximize this one push. It's going to be like, all right, this one push, even though it might have died, I still ended up killing like an expansion in the process. And then my army died. And now my opponent's like a little bit behind. And then my next wave comes over and smashes him on the other side, and it kills an expansion. And even if it dies, he's even further behind. And then my third wave comes again, and then he just dies because I'm keeping my remaxes so fast and so powerful. And he's like bleeding out reinforcements into the fights and losing army after army because whatever player spends more time trying to take the fight more often and try to like focus too much on the micro side of it is going to waste time and not macro fast enough, and you're going to fall behind. That's why I could say this right now. This is a fact. I could guarantee I could not micro a single unit, and you and I could play a 1v1 right now, and I would beat you every time because I would only macro as flawless as possible. That's all I would do. I would never micro one unit, and I would win every time because I would outproduce you. And that's how you should look at the game too, for now. Because if you're not doing that, it means you're not doing it enough. And you're like, again, you're like I said before, you're spending too much time trying to micro your units and like set them up, attack, and it's just not really working out well for you. In the long run, it won't, because you're gonna send them to die, as we said. So I'll move on from that point because I'm kind of repeating myself.
So actually, I do have a question. Maybe you can answer it.
Okay.
So, so the first base that I attacked later on in the match was the one at 9 o'clock. So I should group up the army first, right, before doing the shift A, shift A, shift A, shift A.
Yeah.
What? Can you just mouse where should I group up the army?
Like so, if his base is here, if his base is here, like one screen length away, like right here, like on top of the ramp or something.
Okay.
Or like right there would be fine too. Not like right there, not like near your base, because you can think about it like this: every bit extra of distance there are between your like his base, like so let's just say you're gonna attack this base, okay? Just for the sake of having a fucking building there. Let's say you're gonna attack this base. If you group up like right here, your army is not gonna have enough distance to run to where your charge lots are gonna outrun your immortals like crazy. But if you group up like right over here, your zealots are gonna be like right here by the time your immortals are like right there. And you're going to have this big fucking discrepancy of distance between your units. Where, like, your zealots are going to be mostly dead by the time your mortals start engaging. And you don't want that. So if you're, like, within, like, just about one screen length away from a fight, there's not enough distance to make this a problem for you. And again, you make too many charge lots. Throwing it out there, again. You don't make as many as you do. You need to make more fucking gas units. Because charge lots...
I like those guys.
Charge lots they're actually fucking terrible. Like when it comes to maxed out versus maxed out. They're really good when you can overpower and like overwhelm them. But if you're both maxed, it'd be like the Zerg going mass Zerglings against you. Like Zerglings are great when you surround someone and you overwhelm them, but they're terrible when they run into like a wave of Archons and Zealots and just die. And it's like, wow, Zerg just lost 40 supply and killed 1 Zealot. Or 0 units altogether. So yeah, less Zealot, more Archon Immortal, and just fill in with Zealot with the excess. Okay, now we've kind of covered most of the things I would say that were really, really important that we wanted to talk about, that were things that I kind of wanted to talk about first. Last thing, I'll just reference it again. Make sure you're chrono boosting your Forge as a priority over the Robos once you start chrono boosting it. And the time when you start chrono boosting it is when your probes are completed. So Forge is priority over Robo. Robo is priority over Gateway. But Gateway can be chronoed as well if you already have chronos rolling on your Forge and Robo and you still have excess. That's fine. If like you need units now and you're like all your shit's on cooldown, if that makes sense. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to show you how to make a wall. Okay. At your thirds, because this is something you need to be able to do.
And they're out of here.
So when you build a base, literally all you got to do, watch my mouse. Notice how there's a build red and green. Like look at the, I want you to specifically look at the pylon. And notice how there's a grid on the pylon that's all green right now. Everywhere I put it, it's green, 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 green. Now it's red on half of it. Now it's red on all of it. What I want you to do is I want you to be at the exact bottom of the nexus. Go to the left of the nexus. Space it by 1. Build your pylon. That's a perfect pylon to do on a new base. You can do the same thing like on a new base over here. Or like right here. Just, you can be like, all right, because it's still, if you build it, it's like it works the same way, right? You'd be like, all right, I want a pylon there, pylon like right there. Cool beans. Or if you want to build a pylon nexus here, I want a pylon here, I want a pylon right there. Cool beans. That's perfectly lined up with the nexus on both sides. Practice that, get better at that. And then, like for instance on this one, you can see the pylon field's not able to reach the wall, right? So if it's not able to reach the wall, that's okay. Stay horizontal with this pylon and build another pylon, or you can go a little bit back, that's also fine. Just as long as your gateway radius reaches like that. That's all you're looking for, because what you're doing is you don't want to have a pylon that protrudes like this. Oops, sorry. You don't want to have a pylon that protrudes like that, because when you're making your gateways, it's going to fuck your gateways up. That's really bad. You don't want that. You want to make sure there's like a line you never want to cross with your pylons, where the nexus is, because you can see you already crossed on this one too, but this one's not so bad because it's your inner pylon. You're not going to make gateways here. That's totally fine. You want your outer pylons to never cross the nexus. So putting a pylon there, anywhere in this area is totally fine. We'll put it there. It's all good. And now, when you want to make your gateways and you want to, the concept of this that you need to understand is, we'll set up right now your fourth base too, just for another example of this, just like I showed you there a second ago. And now this one's gonna have the same problem, so we can put a pylon like right, like there, for instance, and fix it. And we'll talk about that in a second. But now here's the thing you want to do. You're like, this is my third base. There's a lot of probes mining from it. You know, I want to make sure this base doesn't die. What if Zerglings were to run this area? Instead of just being like, all right, I don't know, fuck it. Maybe that'll work. Be like, okay, just go all the way against the wall. Like you literally, again, go to the part where it's red, unbuildable. That means that's the wall there. Come back 1, build it, build it, build it, build it. Now, make sure you overlap the nexus a bit more than this, because sometimes there'll be situations where the wall won't be perfect, and you can see how there's still overlap with the nexus. Nexus work a little different than other buildings, so even if there's a little bit of overlap, you can still run through the gap. It's kind of fucked. That's just how nexus are. That's how command centers are. That's how hatcheries are. So I want you to overlap like halfway or all the way over the nexus, just like that. This would be okay on this map particularly because it goes about halfway on the nexus, or this would be fine because it goes all the way on the nexus. And you still have the gap on the right. And now any unit that wants to come on the right can't go on the right anymore. It has to go around. So if your army stands right here, you can easily defend your base. Now also if you get attacked here, you're not going to have a concave that looks like this, where it's like, there's a concave of, you know what I mean? Like there'll be a concave of, let's say probes or Zerg, okay? The last thing you want in the world you want to have happen is to have a Zerg player who's attacking you like this, Like these are all Hydralisks or some shit, and he's like got all the surface area where some of them are hitting your gateway, some of them are hitting your units over here, and you're like trying to fight that, and you're like, all right, let's fucking go, bitch, and you're like trying to go through a little doorway, and your units are fighting like 2 or 3 at a time, and he's got a massive concave against you. You do not want that. You also don't want to like walk through his units and take free fucking damage while he's just shooting the shit out of you, and you lose like a third of your army just trying to walk through the door so you can make a new concave that's like artificial, which is still kind of fucked here, if that makes sense. Like you're, because you have no retreat now either. Like it's just not great. It's not ideally what you want. But if you instead, if you don't have these buildings that protrude over the gateway wall, and a Zerg player shows up to attack you, yes, although like a couple Hydras might be able to attack this gateway, like we said before, your army could stand like this, and you have so much more fucking surface area, and you can actually, there's no reason why you have to go here. You can defend it here because he has to go through the choke point to shoot you and shoot your buildings and shoot your Nexus. So like he can't actually, he doesn't have units that can attack you from like 20 range. He has to now go through the choke point. So you make him have the convex to your concave. It's like basically, I'll do this on stream really fast if you want to look at stream really quickly. You always want defensively a situation where if your opponent's going to attack you like this, you want to be able to go like this. Or if your opponent's going to attack you like this, you want to be able to go like this. You know what I mean? Like you want to always have the superior angle over your opponent. You want to have more distance from left to right or up to down, whatever you want to say. You want to have more length in your line of units that can fire at your opponent. Because if you instead, what is happening to you is, look at the top right one again, that I just did a second ago. Where's my eraser? There it is. What's happening to you is if I were to put some fucking, some pylons here, it would be like this. The green line is your concave, and you're like this. All right, no, you know what? That'll be our concave right there. Because instead you have pylons on the south side of that, or gateways or whatever. And you're like, well, fuck, his concave's now bigger than mine. Which means he's going to have an advantageous fight because he has more active DPS in the fight. So you got to be really careful about not letting him have that. So not building buildings in shit spots. So like I said before, the Nexus is a wall, a line that creates a wall off to the side. That's perfect. Same thing in here. This one's a little bit different because, but it's still the same concept. But think about what is not, so the point I'm trying to make here is every expansion has a object that is not movable, that is going to be on the protruding side of things. This one happens to be the Nexus, because you don't want to build a Nexus anywhere else besides where it is, because otherwise you get really bad mining. And the Nexus is the southmost structure out of this entire natural. And what I mean by that is, I'm not talking about pylons and gateways. You can put those wherever the fuck you want. I'm talking about gas, minerals, and Nexus, the things that cannot be moved. Now, if you look at this base, again, south side is your protruding side. It's the side that you need to, that's exposed and you want to defend it. But you can't relocate the gas. And the gas in bottom right is the most protruding south area that you have. So if you put a pylon, not over the gas, but against the gas, just like we talked about with the Nexus, you can put gateways in a line that go across it. Okay, be careful about that. Like this, right here. You'd be like, all right, gateway, and then finally put another gateway like right there. And there you go, that's a fucking perfect wall. And now you have no pylons here like you did before, where it's like that or some shit, where that fucks up your, once again, your defensive concave area. Do not put those there. Have a pylon just on like on the corners of the Nexus on the left and the right. That way it gives you a nice warp in radius to work with. And it also gives you places where you can tuck your units back into a doorway if you ever have to do it, if you need to micro something like that. But this gateway wall covers the mineral line and is not fucking your concave over. If you have to concave in this area at all, it's very doable. Like this concave here is totally doable for this area right here. And then this, if the Zerg decides to come all the way from this side, you can always, if so be it, if a gateway has to die, it has to die. But at least it covers the probes, right? This is one of the, I would say this is, not every base works like this. Not every map has like 3 entrances into one expansion where it's like this, and that can go to it. But hopefully you understand what I mean. Like it's unavoidable because the gas protrudes. You have to cover the side of your mineral line. Like, because if you don't do it, units can literally run behind the fucking the side of the gas and run into your mineral line and kill your probes. Like banelings could run right through there if that gateway didn't exist there. So does that make sense with how you wall your base? How you wall like the sides of your...
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
makes sense.
So that's...
Is there a? I mean, is it just because Zerg can make like a whole bunch of like units very quickly that are fast, and that's why you do it against Zerg, but then you don't? Because I only see
It's
you
because
do
of
it against Zerg. I
banelings.
don't see you do it
It's
against.
because of banelings.
Oh, okay.
It's because if a Zerg play, like, so you probably don't, again, you probably don't run into this kind of shit in Platinum that much, or like ever maybe. But when you start going up as a league, like in placement as a player, you will start to play Zergs who will be hyper aggressive with Ling's Bane styles. And if you don't do shit like this, you're going to be like, all right, I got a fully saturated mineral line. And then 12 Banelings are going to roll in the back of your mineral line and blow up your entire mineral line. And it insta-dies. And you're going to be like, wow, that sucks. And then it's not even a Zerg player who like only does that either. It's like, I'm all-inning you with Ling Bane and that's it. He could just fucking be like a Zerg who goes like Ling Bane Hydra and he's playing standard and he decides, you know what? I'm going to send like 8 Banes over here. Excuse me. My throat is so dry. He's going to send like 8 Banes over here and just do a counterattack with his main attack. Because people in higher leagues also know how to micro, right? They can actually multitask. So if you don't do shit like this, you're asking for your economy to just get punished repeatedly. And it's not great for you. It's gonna hurt pretty bad. So how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, it's impressive. It's impressive. How do you learn? How do you like know this stuff?
Because I am self-taught and I've been playing games for like 28 years, or no, longer than that, like 30 years out of my 34-year life. I've been a gamer since I was like 4 years old. And I've also been really competitive since I was a kid. And the reason why is because I had a lot of friends that sucked ass at games, but I had one that didn't. And the one that didn't, we always were like, I could kick your ass, and I could kick your ass, and I could kick your ass. And we always tried really hard to beat each other. And I got super competitive because of him. And I've just always been that way. And then it went from, and then my friends kind of stopped playing games when I was in school. Like a lot of my friends from back in the day don't play anymore. But it shifted from being competitive with friends in person to then being competitive with friends online and people I know online, and to then being competitive with people in the world, like the entire fucking planet. So I've been a super competitive, sweaty tryhard my whole life at games, and I have developed a mindset that makes me think about how to do everything efficiently, I guess, about like ways that I think would be efficient for things. And yeah, I mean, there's also, I know there's a lot of patterns in a lot of games when you get to a point that you realize that, like, a lot of games have a lot of similarities. Not just like StarCraft, for instance.
Right. No, it's like, yeah, I don't know, just the way that you like explain it, and oh, you put it here for this reason, then you can build it this way. It's like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah,
Makes
no,
so much sense.
I hope. Yeah, no, I'm glad it makes sense. I try really hard to be articulate and like make sure it's not convoluted, because there's a lot of players out there that understand this shit, but then when they try to explain it, they're just like, all right, just fucking do it. I don't know, copy or replay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that comes from like years of experience of just talking. Like I've always been. I feel like I'm an introvert, but at the same time, I'm very capable of being an extrovert, where I can speak to anybody about things. I can, like, if I know a topic, I can explain about it. And yeah. I feel like that's just, I don't know. I'm fortunate that I can speak about things, I guess, in a way that is understandable. But yeah,
it's a rare skill.
But anyways, any questions about anything before we wrap it up?
I did have one question, kind of dumb. So, you know, I got to like the 5th one. I had 5 bases, right? And then I know I'm supposed to keep expanding, but I don't. If all my probes are kind of working and nothing is totally like oversaturated, why do I need to keep expanding?
For vision control, map control, and also because it's totally fine to have bases that are not fully saturated because you have more minerals available than probes to mine them. That's totally fine. But having the ability to transfer at will is way better than going, ah, fuck, I've been oversaturated now for like the last 2 minutes, and now I need to start an expansion. If you don't have an expansion established, it's much harder to then take one. And what you should be doing is you should not only be expanding on like every 2 minutes up until you have your entire side of your map covered with expansions, but then also at some point doing like the cannon battery shit where you cover them, so they actually become a fortified like location for you to work with. It's like Fort 6th base, Fort 7th base, Fort 8th base, if that makes sense. Like it's like another outpost you control on the map. It's control of the terrain essentially, and it's much easier to it's much easier to maintain control of terrain than to establish control of terrain.
Okay. Yeah, here I know that I needed to expand, but that last base only had like 6 probes. So, and all my other bases were okay, so I thought, well, let me just concentrate on building units. And
for mining wise, it was totally fine. Like it wasn't like, oh my god, your mining sucks, expand again now because you need a nexus doing nothing. But for instance, here's one thing you could do. You could actually lighten up on your minerals and heavy up on your gas. You could do that, and you could make an even faster amount of Archons over Zealots.
Okay.
Because you could do that, because yeah, like the amount of gas on the map is nowhere near going to be enough. Like there's way too much probes that you're going to have for the amount of gas you can mine from. So you could do that too, but yeah, it's just like I said before. It's just easy. It's much easier for you to like have more of the map controlled, and like see more shit and like maintain it. And then when you actually need to go, oh, transfer, I can now transfer to a new base that I already control. And it could already be mining gas or whatever. And it's not going to be that much time anyways. If you expand, like I was saying, you'd probably end up maybe having a base be idle for like 2 minutes, with the fact that other bases are going to mine out. Because again, the way it works is every base mines out half of the mineral line every 8 minutes, and they mine out the other half of the mineral line 8 minutes after that. So every 8 and 16 minutes, a base mines out. If that makes, like the low patches, the small patches mine out every 8 minutes. And the high patches mine out every 16 minutes. So your bases will start to dip off pretty quickly. And then once you start hitting that threshold where like you hit the 16-minute mark, you're going to have a surge again of like, not only are your new bases that are mining out every 8 minutes still having effect there, but you're going to have your old bases that start having their 16-minute base timers mine out completely. And their gas starts mining out too. So you're going to have like this fucking... what's the word I'm trying to use here? I don't know why I can't think of it. Like it's like a massive like probe refugee fucking migration going on, where it's like they all need a home again. It's gonna like go. It's gonna, instead of being like gradual, it's gonna get kind of crazy again for a little while. So having bases ready to go for that is nice.
Okay.
That's true though. That's how it goes.
Right.
All right, man. But yeah. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think we're good. I think yeah, just gotta keep working on it. Gotta keep doing it. Hopefully, I can get a little bit higher in platinum soon enough.
I think you can. Honestly, I think the biggest one we talked about. Really go back and listen to it again if you need to. The army thing. If you fix that, that's gonna help you so much. Like that's such a flaw in your attacks that I'm seeing. And if you rotate that out into what I was recommending you to do, it's easier, honestly, first of all, and it's going to be more powerful. And just adopt the strategy of willing to go main army, go left or right or whatever. Does not matter which side you pick first, whatever you feel comfortable with, or whatever you think the expansion needs to be attacked first is from scouting. But then alternate it. Go, okay, now I'll go left. Now I'll go right. Now I'll go left. Now I'll go right. Now I'll go left. And you're doing it not with like 12 zealots or 6 Archons. You're doing it with maxed out army, go left. Okay, it's over. Maxed out army, go right. And you're not wasting time. Once you max and like you're actually maxed and like the army's full power, you go. So this is what I mean, okay? I don't want to make this sound confusing. Maxing for 1 second isn't what I mean. If you have units that are currently dying, and you're like, oh, I maxed for a millisecond. Okay, let's go with like 30 supply. Go left. That's not what I mean. What I mean is your big push pushes until it dies. And when it's dead, it's remaxed immediately. Push left side. It goes until it dies. Remaxed immediately. Push in the right side until it dies. That's what I mean by the remax. And the only exception to this is if it just can't fucking die because you're already winning the game. Like you already have kind of won the game. Like the Zerg has 80 supply and you have 185 or something like that. And you're like, okay, I just made another round of Archons or Immortals or whatever. And now I'm maxed. and I'm not going down. And I only have like 15 supply here. But I'm not going down in supply, and I'm just watching my army kill base after base on the minimap. You're more than welcome to go then. That's fine, because you've already won the game. And that doesn't, even if you didn't go, you'd still win the game. Which is why that's why it doesn't matter. Like you're gonna win either way. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, just fix that about your gameplay. That'll help by far the most out of all of it. But I'll give you
Cool.
props one more time about your probing, way better. Your expansion timings overall way better. Maybe fix the in part a little bit, but really good job. Seriously, keep that up. Don't stop doing that. Very good. And yeah, success is in your future, dude. I believe.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, dude.
Appreciate it.
Have a good rest of your night. Thank you very much again for doing another coaching lesson. And
Yes, of course. Thank you.
dude, take it easy, man.
All right. See ya.
All right. Guys, that has been a coaching lesson with Hindu. Hindu, much appreciated, dude. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope you guys found it informative. But that's going to be it for me today for the coaching lesson. And good luck in your own games applying this to them if you want to. But until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll see you then. Later, guys.